I'm a Russian-born American who ended up settling in New Zealand and building a life in New Zealand. My husband's a Kiwi. My kids are complete Kiwis. My 2 cats are Kiwis. Everyone's a Kiwi. I'm kind of part Kiwi now as well. And today I want to take you on this gorgeous walk. It's one of my favorite places to go in the Wellington region. I will put in the description the location of this walk, but if you are a Kiwi watching, I'm quite interested to see if you will recognize where we are just by what you see so far. Yes, can you recognize where we are by looking at this tree? It's really funny. I remember way before I ever thought that I would ever even visit New Zealand, when the Lord of the Rings movies came out, it's quite funny to hear that a bunch of Kiwis watching the films could just recognize the locations just by the trees or the hills or whatever. I always thought that was quite funny. I can now as well. That's because I live in Wellington and a lot of the filming was done here in Wellington. So this place where we're walking right now is actually quite special to me for a couple of reasons. The first is that this, for whatever reason, is where I ended up going for walks last year when I found myself needing to just recharge and kind of recover from a few things, recover from some burnout and things like that I was going through. And I don't know what it is about this spot. I guess it's like sometimes you just want to be surrounded by trees on all sides and just sort of hidden from the rest of the world. I don't know. But this spot is just lovely and it did me such a world of good. And this also happens to be the area where I filmed my very first YouTube video. And I remember being so nervous about putting it out. I think the night before it went out, I just couldn't actually sleep. And I was so nervous. And anyway, I filmed it here. And if anyone's interested in just seeing how a regular person can incrementally improve even something as basic as just taking a video and talking on camera and things like that, watch that first video because it's only from a few months ago and it's very different to this one. So I thought we can kind of return to the scene of the crime with a slightly better camera. Also, just so you know, so this channel and any other channel I do, I try to just be maybe a little bit more authentic and honest than you might normally see on the internet. And one of the things I want to be honest about is that most of the B-roll shots that I do, especially ones where I'm walking, but it's a B-roll, so the camera's pointed the other way, not at my face, I have to do the ninja walk in order to try to keep my camera steady. So there is no glamour on this channel or any channel that I am a part of. We are quite lucky to live where we live. I would think that pretty much anywhere in New Zealand has some really beautiful bush tracks, but in the Wellington region, there's just one everywhere. Everywhere you go, there's a beautiful place that looks pretty much like this. Some people in the comments in the last video pointed out that they thought it was so interesting that there was so much greenery in the middle of winter in New Zealand. So we are filming in July, which is the middle of winter here. And someone asked me as well if I have gotten used to the seasons being flipped, coming from the Northern Hemisphere. And I gotta say that the seasons being flipped is maybe the only thing that I'm still partially in denial about. My birthday's in July, okay? And I grew up having my birthday be a summer birthday. And then I come to New Zealand and my birthday is a winter birthday. And so, of course, Christmas in New Zealand is in summer. And Christmas here is, it's quite charming in its own way. It's a lot about having barbecues outside, going to the beach, drinking cold drinks. But I gotta say, I still haven't gotten used to Santa wearing shorts, okay? I do miss cold, snowy Christmases, like the kinds that you see in movies like Home Alone and what's the other Christmas one? A Christmas Story, I think it was called. There were only like 3 or 4 Christmas movies that we rewatched every single Christmas every year. I think that was 2 of them. So there's just something a little bit magical, I think, about watching those movies while being curled up under a blanket and drinking like a hot cup of cocoa, and then the next day going out and playing outside in the snow. Ooh, it's actually getting quite loud here. Let me know if you hear the water. So I have 2 kids and they were born here in New Zealand. We have done a little bit of travel, but basically New Zealand is all they've known. And they are 4 and 6 years old, and they have never seen snow. So this year, actually, for the first time with the kids, we're gonna go to Whakapapa, which is a ski resort. I mean, would you call it a resort? I don't know. On the North Island. Is just a few hours drive away from us. So we're gonna go there next month. Hopefully there's some snow there. We are actually having presumably a significantly warmer winter this year than usual. Hopefully there's some snow, but we're gonna take them for the first time to see it, and they can experience going sledding, all those things that, we're walking uphill again. When am I gonna learn and stop going on tracks where it's just uphill? I mean, playing in the snow and sledding and things was just such an integral part of my childhood. In the States where we lived, our house was pretty much right next to a ditch. So in the winter, it would all snow over and we would just go sledding with all the neighborhood kids every day. And I went to college or university in Wisconsin, which also gets a lot of snow in the winter. And the college was called the University of Wisconsin in Madison. So it was a very large campus with the various buildings quite spread out. And very rarely would classes be canceled due to weather. Like it was, at least when I went to college, it was almost unheard of for classes to be canceled. So when there were like snowstorms and there was snow going past your knees when you were walking, you would still have to walk to school, walk to your classes through the snow. So yes, that's a little bit about my background. And so it's so weird to me that my kids have never seen snow. I'm really excited. I'll try to film some of it just to see their reactions, because it's gonna be quite special, I hope. So this trek actually usually has a little bit more people than 0. if we do run into someone, just act natural, okay? We do not want to look like influencers. So just act natural. I love when people comment on my videos that they'll kind of brew up a cup of tea or a cup of coffee and they'll sit down and just relax and watch my videos, or they'll put them on in the background when they're doing some chores or something like that. I think that's so great, and that's exactly the vibe that I'm going for. I think we need a little bit more, I don't know, kind of wholesome content, I guess. More relaxing content. And that's the hope that I have for the gaming channel that I've created as well. I just want it to be something that people put on in the background and they can just kind of relax and maybe forget about something that's stressing them out, just at least for a few minutes. Now, the educational channel that I've got is the opposite. I want you to pay attention. No relaxing during the educational channel. I'll have the links in the description, but the educational one is going to take a little bit more time to put some stuff out. So if you don't see anything there yet and you are interested, just check back. I think by the end of the month, I should have at least the first video out. Oh, and speaking of coffee, there were a couple of people who bought me a virtual coffee, which I am just so appreciative of. You know, to know that someone has spent a little bit of their hard-earned money to buy me a coffee is just so, I don't know. I don't know if I can ever express how much I appreciate it. I really do. So thank you. Can't really buy a coffee here, but I will. Oh, there was one thing that I was going to tell you that is just so funny. You know, you would think that if you're out in the bush, out in the forests of New Zealand, you're just kind of in the middle of nowhere, but I think that this planet is just a lot smaller than we might think. So last year, let me preface this by saying that the Wellington region every year does this competition called 48-hour films. So basically the idea is you get together with a crew and you film and put together a short film within 48 hours. So last year, I was really fortunate. I got to help out on one of these sets. And my job was essentially to carry sticks and rocks up and down hills so that other people could use the materials to build some sets out in the woods. And I was working with this lady and we got talking, and it turned out that we were both Russian Americans who had come to New Zealand at around the same time. So I was carrying my rocks and sticks and just thinking, wow, so much has happened in my life. I have been to so many places. I have been through so many events only to end up with my twin, essentially, in the woods of New Zealand, in that specific spot. So yeah, my mind was a little bit blown. I really think that this planet is just a lot smaller. A lot smaller than it seems. Oh, and not to mention James, who in the Patreon chat, we figured out that we went to the same university in America. So thank you for spending time with me. I really appreciate you, taking the time to just sort of have a chat and have a bit of a look around this beautiful country. I do a lot of local walks because there are a lot of options here, but also because I just don't have the opportunity just yet to go traveling really beyond the Wellington region. But whenever I do, I will take you with me. I want so badly to go back to the South Island. It is so beautiful. You know, Nelson, Abel Tasman, Te Anau, Milford Sound, all of those magical places. I so badly want to go back there. I think we will. We will one day. Now, this really is the scene of the crime. This is where I filmed my very, very first video. I had my little daughter with me at the time. So yeah, thank you for inviting me into your home or wherever it is that you're watching this. I had a second person recognize me out and about the other day, which was really sweet. I think a third person did as well. She was sort of looking at me and she was saying, "Where do I know you from?" And it didn't occur to me that it might be YouTube. So I said, "Oh, maybe a kid's birthday party or something." So just so you know, I only exist at Pack and Save, which is one of the local supermarkets, at kids' birthday parties, because I have 2 kids and they have a bunch of friends, so we always go to birthday parties, and YouTube. That's basically the only 3 places that I exist. And my couch, so. Okay, I don't know why I admitted that. No, I have a much more interesting life than that. I go to parties and all this stuff, yes. All right, thanks for spending time with me. I'll see you next time.